Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special installment of Kyle's Daily Bad Words of Wisdom. And today, I'm gonna let it be a surprise. I think all y'all know what I'm doing right off the bat, but this is a Valentine's shout out, everybody. All you guys, don't forget, it's tomorrow, but still, you gotta get all yourself ready today. It's not like you gotta... Okay. And without further ado. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I ponder weak and weary over many quant inquiries, value of forgotten yore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there became a tapping as I once more gently rapping on my chamber door. "'Tis is some visitor," I muttered, tapping to my chamber door. "Only this and nothing more." Oh, I remember it was the blanket December, and each separate dying amber wrote as the ghost upon the floor. Ignore, I wish the more, vanishing, and I sought into Donor. From my books I score of sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant madam, who the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And saken and uncertain, roosting for each purple curtain, thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terror never felt before, so that now, to still and beating of my heart, I still reap tea to some visitor, tea tapping, entering at my chamber door. Come later, visitor, entrance on my chamber door, that is, and nothing more. Certainly my soul grew stronger, hesitantly no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truthfully, forgiveness I ignore, but I fact that I am napping, and I gently have rapping, and I faintly as you come tapping at my chamber door. I scarcely sure that I heard you, but I open wide the door, the darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood, and wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming no mortal even dared to dream before, but the silence was unbroken as the darkness gave no token, and the only words was whispered, the words Lenore. This I whispered as an echo murmured back as the word Lenore. Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon I heard a tapping, something louder than before. Surely, I said, this is something that my window let me see then, that threatened this and the mysterious ignore. But my heart I still moment and the mysterious explore. Is the wind and nothing more? Open here I flung the shutters, when with any of the flirt and flutter in there stepped a nearly raven of the satanly days of yore. Not least extents made he, not a minute stopped and stared he, but with me a lord of lady pierced above my chamber door, pierced upon a dust of Paris just above my chamber door, pierced, and sat, perched, and sat nothing more. Then the undone bird, dequalling my sad fancy into smiling, by the graves of the sterling discern, and consequence its horror. Once the crest is shorn from the shaven though, I said, art sure no craven, ghostly grim of ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shores? Tell me what the lady's name is on the night's phantom shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marveled with greatly growled to hear discourse so plaintively, though I answer little more. Little renounced Lenore, but we can't help arguing that no living human being ever yet had blessed with the seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust, from the chamber door with a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the pierced boast, spoke only the one word, as if his soul, and the one word that he did overpour nothing. Then he uttered but a feather, then he fluttered till a score more muttered, other friends have flown before on the snores, he will never leave me as my hopes never flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Shuddered at the stillness broken by the repeat of the epic spoken, doubtless, said I, but it uttered it only stuck in store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmercifully destroyed, followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burst bore, till the degrees of his hope and his merchantly born more of Nevermore. But the raven still bequeathed all his sad soul into smiling. Straight I weird cushioned seat in my front of my bird as the boast of the door. Then upon the velvet seeking, I detoxed myself to leaking fancy, into fancy thinking, that this omened bird of yore, that his grim, uncertainly ghostly gant, this ominous bird whose howl meant in choking Nevermore. Then I sat, engraved in guessing, but no solidity I impressing to ye foreign. Those who fear eyes now burned into my blossom's core. This is more, I sat divining my head, as ease declining on my cushion's velvet lining, that I lamped gust oil, but as those velvet linings with the lamp close glooning norning, she shall pass away nevermore. Then the mindfulness of the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen cancer, sprung by symphonies whose foots fallen tinkled by the tuft floor. Wretch, wretch, I cried, thy God who sent thy as all angels whose went sent these quaff, O quaff of kinds of nymphs, and forgotten his lost lore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, things of evil? Prophet still the birds of devil, whether tempest sent and whether tempest tossed, thy here ashores as I dwelled on the desert's land uncharted, on his home by horrors haunted. Tell my truly explored, is there born of Gilead? Tell me, I implore, quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, I said, thing of evil, prophet still a bird of evil, by the heavens of the bent above you, the gods we both adore, tell his soul was sure, laden off within the distant Obean, it shall still clasp at the Satan maiden, above the angel's name Lenore, clasp the raven, radiant maiden, whose angels came Lenore, quoth the raven, Nevermore. Be that word our siren had patent, bird or friend, I screechened up satin. Let thy back into the tempest of the night's phantom shore. Leave me black fume as I token of the lie of thy hast spoken. Leave me loneliness unbroken, 'cause the bust above my door. Take thy beak from thy heart, and take thy heart from my door, quoth the raven, Nevermore. And the raven again flittered and stood on the still, sitting on the pied bust of the above his chamber door, and his eyes all seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamp post all seeming streaming through his shadows on the floor, and his soul From the shadows, his lies floating on the floor. Shall it be lifted? Nevermore. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pounced weak and weary upon a quint and a query volumes of forgotten lore. Oh, desolately I remember it was bleak December, and each separate dying amber wrote its ghosts upon the floor. Eagerly I wished and marvelously as I sought and borrow from my book score and sorrow from the lost Lenore. Sorrow from the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant madam whose angel's name Lenore, nameless here for nevermore. T is some visitor entering, tapping on my chamber door, later threatening entering my chamber door. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.